Hey, it is Brad, your local Australian sales guy, with a few tips on the importance of preparing efficiently and effectively for any initial sales meeting. Now, of course, this is going to vary by case to case, depending upon the specific process you have, the offering, the sales cycle, the complexity, the deal size. There's a huge amount of variables that can go into what you will need to do to prepare effectively for any initial sales meeting. But there are a few key things which are relatively consistent across any kind of meeting. Now, first and foremost, if you have not met the individual, if that meeting has been booked in by an SDR or some other team member, it's important to reach out a day or two ahead of that meeting to introduce yourself and confirm that meeting. Now, you may do this via email. Personally, I like to do it via LinkedIn so they can put a face to the name. And it's really a very valuable part of that process because it increases the attendance rates, but also allows you to gather more information ahead of that call. Some people I know even like to actually arrange a call before the initial demonstration to have a proper discovery and get more information if they do have a very complex sales cycle and product. From there, it's important to know what you need to know as a result of your discovery and initial meeting. I have been on calls in the past where the salesperson wasn't too sure about what piece of information they needed to gather to be able to identify the true pain of the prospect and therefore deliver a valuable solution. So it's important to know what you need to know about to identify that process, to identify their pains, the value of your solution, and to be able to effectively deliver that. So once you do know that, gather as much as you can before that meeting. And there's a multitude of different methods which you can use to do this. For example, LinkedIn, of course, is invaluable resources. Of course, you can go through to the company website. You can use Google Analytics as well. Also, look in your own CRM. You or one of your colleagues may have connected with that individual or that company in the past. And there could be incredibly valuable information in there already. So review all of these different sources and try to understand as much as you can about those things that you've just identified that you need to know. Also try and pick up some things about the individual's personality, because this can really affect how you start that call and act throughout that call. And of course, also any analytics about the growth and trajectory of the company, team sizes, things like that can always be really useful. And then, of course, it's always important to remember that any of this information that you found through your own research is incredibly valuable to use, but to try not to make assumptions on it. Always confirm that information with the individual before going down any rabbit holes, which may end up leading you in the wrong direction, because you want to make sure it's relevant, correct, and important to both the company, but also that person themselves. And then, of course, try and understand all the potential outcomes of that meeting. What is the ideal scenario and what is the worst case scenario? And try, of course, have a good understanding of what the motivators are for those. So you can be prepared and flexible if they do come up, and try to steer that meeting in the right direction. That's it from me today. Have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your week.